The stereotype of homelessness is that it affects mainly older persons, people with addiction, mental health issues. Whilst that's true to a degree, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. The surface picture we see is sometimes deceptive. The reality is that approximately half the population of homeless persons are under the age of 25. And it's also the case that while mental illness is an issue, it's no greater an issue among the homeless population than it is with the general public. Whilst it's true that financial issues and health issues and employment factors all contribute to homelessness, family breakdown remains the broadest and biggest cause, and it's young people that are most adversely affected by that. The notion that homelessness is the result of a personal choice or a lifestyle decision is completely wrong. If that were the case, it would be an incredibly bad decision. Homelessness places you at great mental and physical risk in terms of the dangers associated with that. We really find, though, that it's a great leveller in society. Homelessness affects people from all levels. It's an unfortunate reality that we're all at risk. In Armidale, we had a situation where we were doing some renovations or extensions to one of our refuges up there. So we had architects come in and look over plans with the staff there, and we had one gentleman who'd been at the refuge for some time. It was very quiet and very insular guy because he'd been through some considerable trauma. He'd been homeless for some time. He happened to walk past the office where they were looking at these plans, and he came in and scratched his chin and said, "It's interesting what you've done with this structure or that structure." And they looked at him and not that they were concerned that he had an opinion, they wondered why he was interested. And it turns out that he'd been a partner in a very high-profile architectural firm in Sydney. And he'd become homeless as a result of a really adverse life event. His wife passed away as a result of an illness. He'd been committed to his work, so he didn't really have a very big social network outside of his immediate family. He reacted badly, or not badly, in a way that I guess many of us would naturally react to the death of a loved one. And that trauma resulted in him being unable to work, resulted in reaction with alcohol to try and cope with the grief. And one thing led to another, and within the space of 3 months, he was homeless. And the shame that caused him was so great that he'd moved away from the city, and he'd wound up travelling through all parts of rural New South Wales, and thankfully came to our attention in Armidale. But that is one case in many. It's always surprising to us that this idea exists in the general public, that it's limited to one section of the community. It's just not the case.
My participation in the CEO Sleepout, it's interesting and it grabs a little bit of attention, but I think it's really important to remember that the firm does lots of other really important things in relation to homelessness. We have really long-standing relationships with organisations like Mission Australia, Oz Harvest, and the various legal centres that work with homeless people. We've been doing a lot of work in this area for a long time, and most of it doesn't receive the same kind of attention as the CEO Sleepout. And I think it's really important that we remember all of that other work that gets done. People in the firm have been extraordinarily generous, and I'm really grateful for that. And if people still want to donate, they can go to the CEO Sleepout website. But even if people don't feel that they can donate, one thing they can do is to think about this issue. And that's one of the aims of the Sleepout, is to raise awareness and to start people thinking about something which is really important in our community.